Not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible. Your organization's terrible. Let's go. Go ahead. Quiet. Quiet. Go ahead. She's asking a question. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional
Well, I
Hispanic
would.
Caucus?
I tell you what. Do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
No.
Are they friends of yours? No, set up the
I
meeting.
know some of them, but I'm sure
Let's go. Set up a meeting. I would love to meet with the Black Caucus. I think it's great.
And we had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake that you've ever seen. And President Xi was enjoying it. And I was given the message from the generals that the ships are locked and loaded. Look, he's a showboat. He's a grandstander. The FBI has been in turmoil. You know that. I know that.
And I love all people, rich or poor. But in those particular positions, I just don't want a poor person. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? This is a long time ago. Sold his company for a tremendous amount of money. And he went out and bought a big yacht. And he had a very interesting life. I won't go any more than that because you're Boy Scouts, so I'm not going to tell you what. Should I tell you? Should I tell you? Oh, you're Boy Scouts, but you know life. You know life. North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
I love Trump montages. Like nothing better.
Yeah. I miss him with the press. He was the best with the press.
Yeah,
Did you see there was an article in Zero Hedge. It was like if Trump were to take advice, this is what he should do, and it was very well written and thought out. It was like he needs to stop messing with ABC and NBC. He needs to double down on just being Trump. Let Trump be Trump was kind of the theme. It was good stuff.
Was that you talking about a recent article?
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
I'll find it. I'll find it when I get home. We can talk about it, or I can talk about it on my own show or something. It was good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's when he's at his best. And like what's funny is the press has been kind of running like ads essentially for the Trump campaign because they were like, oh, he's gonna completely dismantle like the government. Like he said he's gonna just break down the a lot of the parts of the government or whatever with Schedule F and stuff like that. So, which I do think he wanted to use Schedule F, but because of the way that because he actually enacted that. He just didn't exercise it because of the whole COVID situation. I feel, it's kind of coincidental, that the COVID situation came up at a point where he had Schedule F enacted, where he could theoretically get rid of a lot of federal employees.
I wouldn't give him that.
Hopefully we get it. Hopefully we get a shutdown, and then that'll take care of it all.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're projecting it's going to shut down on October 1st. So I don't know how that's going to happen and how long are they going to be shut down? Because they'll have to pass CRs if they want to. And I don't know if they're at the point where they can pass CRs.
Well, the interesting thing about it is there's the Republican-backed funding bill that they're trying to get through the House. That's like the stopgap bill, but the Republicans won't even vote for it because it still includes funding for Ukraine, and then the Senate Democrats won't vote, even if they manage to get the House Republicans to agree to it and to vote on it. It's not going to get through the Senate because some of the other things that they put in there, the Senate Democrats won't agree to. Like, this is a bipartisan bad bill. Like, the Republicans in the House don't want it and the Democrats in the Senate don't want it. So, like, this is ineptitude at its finest.
I just think it's funny how they they lose their crap over the fact that the government's going to shut down. How many times is this? Like the 10th, 20th time in the last 10 years? Like nobody cares anymore.
I was
Seriously,
actually
nobody
shocked
cares.
when I know somebody in real life, shocker with who it is, but she's like, oh man, if the Republicans don't get their shit together, the government's gonna, like, there's people, like, not just the press, who actually do, like, take it seriously. I'm like, wait, this thing that happens, like, every fucking year, and it always ends up being just fine? Yeah, no, like, it's crazy people waste time being worried about it.
Yeah, I don't.
You gotta have something.
I can't understand at all how people think it's a problem.
When you're a privileged white woman, you really got to reach for problems to have.
Well, I think what a lot of people, the people who actually care about it, who legit have reason to care about it, is usually people who know someone who is a federal employee in some way, or contracted to be a federal employee.
If you're a park ranger, you got the cushiest job in the fucking world anyhow. It's like the most sought after job ever. So if you got to get laid off for a couple weeks every 4 years, okay, I don't want, whatever. Boo-hoo.
Take
go
that.
hang,
And they
go,
get,
go, go,
they
go
get
for,
paid.
Go for a hike, you know?
Take that unpaid vacation and just, like, you'll get they're gonna get back pay anyway. Like, they're not gonna go completely unpaid. Y'all are just gonna leave Clyde in the back room, not gonna let him come, or
There
backstage.
we go.
Not
Thanks,
let him...
boss.
Yeah, they get
That's
paid.
what
Right, knocking at the back door.
Most of my best work gets done backstage anyway. So.
What's up, Clyde?
But Clyde is the backstage performer, so.
But I mean, this whole government funding thing, they're going to really be in trouble if this New York judge was correct. They probably owe Trump some back taxes if he was paying property taxes on Mar-a-Lago at the valuation that he had put on it, and they're saying that it's only worth like $18 million. Then, did y'all see that? This is the latest like attempt. The latest attempt to indict Trump is for property valuation fraud, or like, what the fuck is that even?
So
they're talking about it, is they're trying to say that he it was worth between 18 and 27 million or something like that, but I think he had it.
He said it was worth some 100 million, 345 million, I think I saw, or something like that. But so here's the thing, okay? Like, I think I saw a couple things about the comparables, right? And weren't really doing comparables. They were just like looking, and you have to consider that Mar-a-Lago is like 17 acres, which is, I mean, that's a massive amount of acres when you're on waterfront like that. Okay. But really, like, if it boils down, what was the problem? So he lied about it. So let's just say it's worth $10 million.
Except that he
lied
about it. They were showing property valuations for other properties in the area. But yeah.
Let's just say he did.
Why does it matter?
10 million. Why does it matter? He went to the bank, and so he lied about it so he could get more capital out. Okay, if the bank doesn't like check up on that, like, that's on the bank. You're not defrauding anybody. The bank is retarded for not doing their due diligence. Like, that's not fraud. I mean, like, you weren't trying to be sneaky. It's not like you came up with your own list of falsified comparables. Like, the bank didn't do its job. That's it. Like, I don't know, man.
They should be evaluating.
And by that metric, the federal government is forcing the banks to defraud themselves by basically making them give out these like the subprime mortgage type loans to first-time home buyers who don't have credit and who don't meet any of the criteria for actually getting the loans, which they started doing back in like 2006, 2007, which led to the biggest housing bubble ever, and then this massive recession. And now they've actually inflated that housing bubble even bigger over the last 2 years. Than we are currently at a worse state than what we were in 2007 before the housing bubble popped. But nobody wants to talk about that. And that's at the impetus of the federal government and the Treasury Department, or the Fed. The way they have pushed monetary policy, they are forcing these banks to give out loans to people who they shouldn't be giving these loans out to, and blowing this whole thing up. Like it's only a matter of time before we see another bubble pop and go into another recession. It's not going to be recession this time. Like we have been in a recession for the last year and a half. It's going to be it'll be full on depression. Like
yeah, but that's an old
I'm already
definition.
seeing it at the markets. Like I'm already seeing people not spending money like they were 4 months ago. I mean, it's just little stuff. People can't afford anything anymore.
Well, I mean, I people know. Well, they know too, right? I think it's all over the place. People are aware that what's happening. That we're kind of up shit's creek right now. Like it's not getting better. Like as much as the government wants to come up with a new formula for unemployment or a new formula for inflation or paint it as this or that. Like I mean, 60 Minutes did something on the Ukraine the other day on how much money the U.S. is sending to Ukraine to subsidize farming and all this crap. Like 60 Minutes did that. Like that's.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just farming. We
right.
don't know like how much we're funding a lot of other crap. Like they were showing us like how we were somehow our funding was going to like getting them better fire engines or something. Like actual.
Well, it was for fire training. It was for small businesses. It was for their police force. For literally everything that's going on in Ukraine, we're funding. Yet we can only give $700 to the people in Hawaii for burning down their stuff.
Well, that's what you get for living on an island, I guess, right? You live near a volcano. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? But, no, like, and I think like some of the stuff is coming into more of the mainstream that like, oh crap, we really are doing all this stuff overseas. Like we were in Afghanistan for 20 years. I think people started to wake up a little bit that like maybe all this nation building, all this meddling isn't necessary. And now, 60 Minutes, I think they're fairly mainstream, right? I mean, like they used to be anyway. Like they're running a episode on how much money we're giving away to a foreign country that's like, they're not even neighbors. They're like, halfway across the globe. Like,
and they're trying to spin it as a positive. Is the crazy thing? Is like, oh yeah, look at all the help we're giving to Ukraine.
I don't think 60 Minutes was trying to spin that as a positive. I watched it. It was not positive at all. It was.
Was it? Were they actually doing journalism? Was it?
Yeah, it was a random act of journalism, as what's his name? Rush used to say.
Yeah, it was. I didn't think. I only watched like pieces of it, but from what I saw, it didn't seem like they were trying to spin it off as like this is some good thing. It's like it's more like a look at what we're doing. Why are we?
Well, they even brought up Hawaii. They even brought up the fact that you could. I think it's like $4 billion could rebuild all the houses in Hawaii.
Well, and one of the things that's been interesting is in some of these cases where they have put out stuff like this, where they like say the quiet parts out loud and accidentally tell the truth about stuff, but they try to spin it off as a positive thing. Like people are starting to see that, and they'll be like, "Hold the fuck up! What did they just say?"
Yeah,
like there has definitely been some degree of waking up that has occurred. Whether it's enough to be a difference maker, but what did they say about Trump? Trump's latest poll showed him like what 10 or 12 points ahead of Biden.
Yeah,
those are the skewed polls. That's an ABC poll, so
right.
that's in real terms that it's probably at least another 10 or 12%.
So right now they're trying to figure out how to make up that 20%.
I don't think they're going to. I've been saying it for.
Oh, they did the first time.
No, see, I've been saying it for two years, basically. At this point, is that they're going to run Gavin Newsom? Like it's going to be Biden is going to get.
No, it's going to be Big Mike.
Oh, that would.
Do you think the Comey indictment is going to finally stick?
What? No. I don't know. I don't even know what that one is. There's so many. I don't know.
James Comer. former department or former Secretary of Agriculture for the state of Kentucky, now congressman from Kentucky. He has been leading the oversight committee that's looking into Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's illegal dealings in foreign matters and stuff. And there are documents and stuff of Hunter Biden's with some of these illegal deals that were being done overseas that directly list Joe Biden's home address as the place to send your checks.
God, he was living in the basement. You know, Hunter was living in the basement then.
See, I feel like they're gonna take down Hunter, and then Joe Biden will just want to like ride into the sunset. Like they will pin it all on Hunter.
They'll find.
He used his senile father. That's kind of gonna. I feel like it's gonna be the spin. Hunter used his senile father. We knew he's senile. We're finally pushing him out. Bye, Joe Biden. You know, ride into the sunset. Have your nice retirement home stay, and then
they'll find his body bloody in a room somewhere with the dog sitting on his chest, just like, you know.
Wait, you talking about Hunter or Joe?
Joe.
Oh,
Joe.
That sounds like a Hunter knife to me.
The dog. What's his dog? Commander. He bit somebody again.
Yeah. Again?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I know.
Like 11. This is 11 times.
Dogs know when people are bad. And they bite
11
them.
times. He bit the Secret Service, I guess. I don't know.
Jesus.
If
anybody else's dog bit somebody that many times, the dog would have been put down.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be put down after the first time, second time. I mean, like
second, yeah.
Well, and it's a fake. It's not a fake dog, but it's fake that it's Joe and Jill's dog. Like they didn't get the dog until after they were in office, and it seemed like a publicity stunt at the time. Like it was when his approval ratings were just dropping straight through the floor, trying to hit like basement level, and then all of a sudden they've got.
Of course, they got a German Shepherd,
and it wasn't even a fucking puppy. It's like an older dog. Like,
then they gave it away. But then they gave it away like his granddaughter.
It might be it's a senile dog now with a senile man.
Did you guys see that the Speaker of the House in Canada stepped down?
Yes. I saw that.
I think Justin Trudeau should step down.
But see,
the rest of us live in Canada, Steve. We don't care.
I hate how they were spinning it, though. It was just, it was funny to see that they got them to clap for a former SS member, but like him stepping down, it just seems kind of pointless. Like I don't know why. Probably Canadian people.
All you have to do is
what's the reason that was given for him stepping down? Did he give it because they cheered for a guy who a former Nazi?
Because the ADL made him step down. I'm dead serious. It was the ADL.
Yeah,
I thought the ADL was like big supporters of all the Nazis in Ukraine, though.
Well, they are.
Not the four Nazis.
there.
Not the Nazis in Ukraine in 1942. Okay,
can they make up their minds? Like
the Nazis in Ukraine in 2023. Okay,
a different kind of Nazis.
Come on, ADL, get it together. Do we support Nazis or not? Was it 6 million or is that too high? Come on.
They're the new kinder, gentler Nazis.
Well, not according to some of the. I don't know. Like if I never can tell if the like battleground reporting is legit at all. But like, yeah, some of the stuff that just passed my timeline is pretty disturbing. That the Ukrainians are doing. I'm sure the Russians are doing similar, but.
That's been the story from the very beginning, though. It's been that way, from the beginning of this whole.
Have you seen the stats? Like more Ukrainian soldiers have been killed in the last year and a half than all American soldiers in all of World War II, period. Like they've lost like 180,000 soldiers, I think is what it is, in a year and a half. Like those are astronomically bad numbers. And on top of that, like you had reports from like American, basically like
leaks.
not refugees.
Yeah, you talking about the leaks?
There were the leaks, but there were
like
also the mercenary types who were going over there to like getting paid to go play soldier for Ukraine. They would just fucking leave. They'd be like, all right, the money's not worth it. Like these motherfuckers are mortaring themselves. Like they've got artillery fire coming in on them, and it's coming from their own people. Like they don't know how to aim. They don't know how to communicate with each other. They're like they are contributing to their own failure as much as Russia is. Like there were all kinds of reports about it. And then they're like plucking 16, 17, 18-year-old boys out of homes and just like giving them a gun and being like, all right, go, you get to die today. It's
Stalingrad, man. It's like the stuff they do in Stalingrad.
It's fucking insane.
So are you?
Yeah, but do you
are
think,
you turning
like,
into a Ukrainian sympathizer now? Because that's what I'm hearing.
No, I mean I've empathizer. I feel bad for the Ukrainian men and soldiers who are out there just getting massacred for no fucking reason. Because how many times have they had the opportunity for peace talks and to put an end to this? But NATO and the U.S. won't allow it to happen. Like there have been at least 3 opportunities where all they had to do was come together and like a peace deal could be done and this all could have ended, except that they won't do it because that would require like actually compromising and putting an end to the fighting. Like the American military industrial complex, with us being done in Afghanistan and a large amount of the U.S. population is not particularly interested in actual our military intervening in other places anymore. That sentiment has died, and people have really turned against us being deployed to other places and doing this empire building type shit. The only way that the military industrial complex can keep churning out the big bucks is if we've got something like Ukraine going on where they can just keep dumping the money into that as opposed to our own military, which to a large extent, that's what they're still doing. They're still pumping it into our own military. Like they're earmarking all of this money as military aid for Ukraine. So what they're doing is they're taking all of our old junk equipment, we're taking all of our old junk equipment, sending it to Ukraine, and then building new equipment for our military. So this is like a buyback program.
Well, and I mean, in a time like now, in a recession like now, when economy is just tough, like, we need it's a good thing.
Whatever it's called.
Ukraine is cash for clunkers. That's the best thing I've heard.
I bet you could get like a cheap Ukrainian bride
we're throwing all of our 1978 Hummers over there, or Jeeps, whatever they are, and then we're just buying new ones. Like it's freaking money laundering. The whole thing is just money laundering.
You think about that though. How many homes could those Hummers provide for like the people in San Francisco? Like you just park them out there in the parking lots and let the homeless live in them, and they'd be good.
Especially think, man, if it's like homeless Hispanics, they could cram 2 families into a Hummer. It's a multi-family home.
Oh man, you ever been in a Hummer? They're not that roomy. You need more like a short.
No, the military Hummers are pretty big on the inside.
Yeah,
you need one of those like old 70s like Chevy vans. Not a Hummer.
How many Mexicans can you fit in the tank? Carlos,
he'll probably show up in the chat here in a second.
Steve said something about an old Chevy van. That's called an apartment complex for them. Pop the hood, and turns out they got a full functional like stove right there.
They're like cooking
Taco
over
stand right out of the
cooking over the top of the radiator, you know, just.
Do you guys? Did you? I guess we saw it. The Britney Spears video.
We haven't talked about it yet, but
What is this? Show the video.
Oh, that's it's the inspiration for today's show name. The title of the show is Maybe Dad Was Right.
Let's
I
see
said, there's nothing better than a dual knife wielding bikini-clad dance party.
Oh, okay.
She's going nuts with it. She's been on this kick where she does these like little dance videos, and I don't know what's going on.
Those poor little dogs are coming by. Is that a raccoon?
Who would have a pet raccoon?
Let's see how I can't tell. Oh, she scared him. She scared him. No, watch that. Here's a. Let's see. I gotta go to them.
The other video from.
Has she got some Enya playing in the background? Is that what that music is?
No, I can't remember the name of that album.
Trey, do you have the one from Mostly Peaceful?
Let's see. I got the one from Flapper. Here's this. It's Indiana Jones.
No.
Which one?
Scroll up. Oh man, it's Mostly Peaceful. Mostly Peaceful. It's good. You'll find it.
So
leave Britney alone. She's our age, isn't she?
Alone. Say what?
She's our age, isn't she? More or less.
Yeah, I mean, a couple
not
years.
as old as me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's a couple years older than me and you, Clyde. I think she's like 44, 45, somewhere in that range.
Wait.
You know, there's some guy going, I can fix her.
No,
yes,
nobody's convinced
Oh,
they can fix her.
There is
anymore.
some libertarian sitting in his basement, his mom's basement, with his shirt off, saying, I can fix her.
Why do you want to fix
You know
that,
I'm
though?
right.
I mean, like,
right. That's what I
world
don't think
needs
anybody
things like
wants to. Maybe her dad was right. Like, we were told that the reason that there was the conservatorship and everything was because she was crazy and she couldn't be trusted and all of this stuff. And then everybody's like, free Britney, and they do it. And then she proves that she's batshit fucking crazy. It's like, maybe Dad was right.
Is that a symptom of it though? Like, do you think like what came first, the crazy or the conservatorship? Like, you know, or like all the fame and the Hollywood? Like, would she have been normal if they just didn't like
16 when she started that career? Like,
Yeah.
she didn't have time to grow up. Everything was handed to her. Like, yeah, no, she's messed up, man.
I mean, is it that bad to have somebody else be in control of your money and stuff? Like, if you're rich and you don't have to worry about anything, like, sure, I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah, but that's you usually go through people like, you know, Charles Schwab or you know, big places that can actually do something with your money than just, you know.
Not just like Dad.
I mean, but was her dad like doing anything like bad with her money? I thought it was just mostly he just had control of it. I thought it was mostly he just had like a totalitarian control of everything, and he was like a mean father who wouldn't let her go be batshit fucking crazy. Like that seems to be all it was. Like, it wasn't that he was like mismanaging her funds.
He was just being a father.
Yeah, he was just being like a strict dad who was like, yeah, she's fucking crazy. She can't take care of herself, so I'm gonna control all of this and not let her go be fucking crazy. And then that's a bad thing.
I don't even think that.
I think it was more of the. I think it was more of the point of like that he had all the money and she was like, well, if I want to, you know, do something with it, you know, I can't do anything because he's got control over everything. So I think it was more of that. Like, she couldn't use her money or you know do all the kind of stuff like buying property and all this kind of stuff like she wanted to or whatever. And I guess it was more of like the control aspect that she was upset about than necessarily the
yeah, because she's batshit crazy. How long before one of those little dogs end up in a stew like what was that, Fatal Attraction?
some people are not mentally stable enough or financially savvy enough to be allowed to have control of their own money. I mean, this is just like not this shouldn't be controversial.
This is what the dogs will end up in. You know.
Niggas, baby, I was fresh out that gym. I wanted to make something that was gonna stick to me. A lot of niggas don't know I can get down like this in the kitchen, man. I don't like that, man.
What is it? What?
What the heck is this?
Man, I'm the best.
Oh, this is one of those, like,
my nigga DJ
You
Khaled.
just mix it all
like that
together.
too,
and-
nigga. Let's get to it. Home fried perfect potatoes.
What is going on here?
Niggas,
No idea.
season to your,
Did you
to
catch
your,
it, though?
preference. Fat mommy just woke up crying, huh, baby? There go your juice. You good? Okay, bet. You want to put some flour on the counter after you clean it first. Dirty ass niggas, make sure you clean it first. Yeah, that's so your biscuits won't stick. You want to take a shortening, self-rising flour, boom. Some 2% milk. That's what I use. Use what you want to use. Twin already know what's up. She know what that is too. Boom. After you knead it together, that was.
This is rapper DaBaby. He's making breakfast. I don't know if you caught the.
You know, real dads don't have to make videos of them making them breakfast for their family.
I don't have time to make a video of that, man. Like,
Yeah, you know, I'm usually
shut up
trying
and
to
eat your
juggle
cereal.
one.
Wash your damn dish. Leave me alone.
I,
Time.
I'm right. Like I'm so busy trying to get them out of bed, make them get dressed while I'm cooking breakfast, trying to like brush your teeth, put on deodorant, wash your pits. Why are you still wearing the same clothes you wore yesterday? Like
We have that argument with one of ours too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's always the one.
I'd be happy if it were just one.
Is it? I would say, is it for y'all? Is it at least the same one? Like the same one doesn't brush teeth, doesn't put on
Yes.
deodorant, and won't change clothes.
Yes.
See, it's not. It's not. My son, he doesn't want to change clothes. He wants to wear the same fucking thing every day. The youngest one, Nadia, she's notoriously bad about not putting on deodorant. So she's not convinced that she's big enough that she needs deodorant, but God, she be stanky. And then my daughter doesn't want to brush her teeth.
I got one.
Like,
See, we have it
I
all wrapped
couldn't-
up into one.
See,
you
I
lucky
run
bastard!
mine.
I wish it was that easy. If it was just Sean that didn't do any of the things, then I would just step up the beatings. But like with it being spread out across all of them, my arms get tired. Like that's a lot.
See, you know, I just run mine like a totalitarian dictatorship, you know, and luckily mine are
Yeah, but
young
yours are
enough
still
to-
small. You can do that when they're small. When they
Yeah.
get about
Right.
10, all that goes out the window, man. None
Right,
of that
yours
works
are
anymore.
yours are little enough. If they don't do it, you can just pick them up and shake them, and then they're
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm sorry. Like it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick up a 6'2", 260-pound kid. I can do
6'2",
it.
Try
but-
six. My youngest is like 6'4", 6'5" right now.
Oh, good.
He's gigantic.
No.
I mean, I can pick him up, but I'm getting a little old for that kind of weight.
Like hurt your sciatica then.
Like I can pick him up and shake him around a little bit, but afterwards I need to go sit down.
Get you some of them old man pain pills.
Oh, I need some of.
Blue
I need some of
Chew,
those.
pain pills. You need them all.
I don't know. I don't need Blue Chew. I'm no problems in that part. I know I've told it before. My dad and I was in college and I'd gone home for a weekend. We were watching a baseball game on TV.
That's
and
a
they had-
weird segue. I don't know that we need to hear this story.
there were a bunch of, we were watching a baseball game on TV, and they always have like the Viagra and the Cialis commercials that come on during the like midday baseball game. And so we're sitting there watching the game, and one of these Cialis commercials come on. My dad, he goes, "All these guys in these commercials look younger than I am." He's like, "I don't have any problem with that." I'm like, "Oh fuck, Dad, I didn't even know that." Congratulations, but like, you keep that to yourself.
You know, yeah.
Although-
me and your mom had a great time last night.
Although in hindsight, he probably said it for the shock factor itself, because
Yeah.
I do that to my kids all the time. Like they'll be sitting there and they'll be like, "Oh, that's gross." I'm like, yeah, that was the point. It's trying to see how you react.
Yep.
Clyde speechless.
No, I'm not gonna add.
He's not going
I'm
to
gonna
tell us
draw a
about
line.
He's not going to tell us about his Blue Chew regimen.
No. I had to go down to the gas station, get some of that horny goat weed. It's a lot cheaper.
Oh, dude. I
get
always laugh when I see that. Or
get you some-
extends
Wait,
or
what?
whatever.
I have no
You
idea
get
what
you
you
some,
guys are talking about. What is this?
You can get you some 3 penis wine. That'll fix you right up.
Does anybody really buy like the stuff at the gas station? You know, like all the like. There's a bunch of them.
Surely
I know.
not.
I can't remember any of them.
There's like extends or whatever.
Because that like amuses me. Yeah, like.
I only remember
like,
that because they had that on like a sponsor for NASCAR one time. I forget whose car it was on, but it was
Great,
like big extends like
Come a bag full of that and just hand it to your wife and be like, "I'll see you later tonight."
You should give that out for Halloween one year.
all of a sudden you're 10. Oh, my kid has a boner.
Don't make me laugh.
No, the only thing I've ever gotten from the gas station was the stackers, the caffeine pills or the energy pills. They're just caffeine pills. I had a buddy that I had a buddy that he would break them open, like just dump. He would get a pack of the stackers, break them open, and dump them in his hand, and then just snort the whole thing. He's like, let's go. I was like, dude, what the fuck? He's like, it gets into your system faster that way. Okay, let's do this then.
Is he still living?
Yes. Have I told y'all the story about Jake? So Jake went to Iraq. He got out. Yes. He got out of when he got out of high school. He had the opportunity to play college football, but instead he wanted to shoot terrorists. So he joined the military and went to Iraq. Well, he was in a Humvee accident and got blown up. And we heard the story that when he woke up in the hospital, the first thing he asked the doctor was, "Is my dick all right?" Which sounds very Jake. Nobody would have doubted that at all. Well, so one day in college, I'm like hanging out in my apartment and there's a knock on the door and I go answer the door and it was Jake. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I was like, "I live here." He's like, "I'm here to see Paul." Paul was one of my roommates. Paul had been in the military with Jake. So Paul and I got to talking later. I was like, so did you know the story about like Jake getting blown up in the Humvee and all of that stuff? He was like, "Yeah, I was in it with him." He was like, we were together. I was like, "Okay, so I got to know, like, was the story true?" Because we all back home heard that when he woke up, that the first thing he asked the doctor was, "Is my dick all right?" And Paul said, "It was the craziest shit ever." He said, "I'm in the bed next to him in the room. And he had been out for like 5 days and just wakes up out of the blue and the nurses and the doctors are all rushing around trying to check on him. And all he does is he grabs the doctor by his coat and he says, 'Is my dick all right?' And they said, 'Yes.' And then he sat back down and was completely calm, like everything was going to be all right with the world." I was like, that sounds like Jake.
He was afraid of missing out on all that action. He had already got some of the military action. He wanted to make sure that he could have action for the rest of his life.
He's like settled down and has a good job and married with a couple kids. It's not like the only thing like negative that came out of getting like literally blown up and being unconscious for 5 days, he was starting to go blind in one eye, and he ended up qualifying for like an experimental like treat or thing to like fix his eye, and it worked, and so now he's totally fine. Amazing.
So he didn't have any plans like who was it? Where'd it go? Oh man, I don't know.
So close. Clyde was so close to transitioning.
He almost made a segue.
Like Mike Evans. He had no plans of Mike Evans when he retired? No? All right, never mind.
What Mike Evans? Oh, yeah, pull that up. No, it was Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. That's what it was. Tyreek Hill talking to Mike Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Pull that up. That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, I guess I guess that's one of those things that, like, if you are equipped in that department, you can probably do that.
TV, everything.
Nah, when I retire, bro, I really want to be a porn star, though, bro. Like, dead serious. Like, you think I got that?
I think I got that.
No.
Nah, I mean, whatever you want, bro. I don't got opinion on that.
he's like no. Oh yeah, no. But Mike Evans is like, yeah. I mean, whatever you want to do.
Do what you want to do,
Who-
girl.
So who is Mike Evans? I don't know who these people are.
Yeah,
so,
see, Tyreek Hill's the Miami Dolphins wide receiver, and then Mike Evans is the Tampa Bay wide receiver.
yeah. So that's interesting. Does he have his own show or something? Like, why are they talking about like?
Yeah, they're like on a podcast or whatever, talking to each other.
Talking about retirement, everybody's got to start thinking about it sometime.
Yeah,
I've been thinking
Yeah, I
about it for a while.
Yeah, you gonna go into porn?
You know, there was a time when I might have considered it, but I'm happily married now, so probably not.
Which means she owns us.
Which means she would not be she would not be happy with me doing that, so I'm gonna have to decline.
It's probably a wise decision. Steve,
Well,
you're
you
muted.
know, we could you know, I guess this is your future if you. Yeah, I don't know how to transition.
Wrong is just wrong. You know it when you see it.
But it's by Toni Morrison. She won a Nobel Prize for literature.
We know better.
But it's hard to know what to do. Easier to let it go. So you just kick the can down the road.
Please, I didn't do anything wrong. It was a miscarriage.
It's for the courts to decide, man. Wrong is wrong. But what can you do?
They want you to think slavery was all bad, but slaves learned valuable skills, like being a blacksmith.
That's racist and a lie.
It's in the school curriculum, endorsed by our fine governor.
It's ridiculous. What are you doing? Let go of me. Stop pushing me.
I mean, lowest unemployment rates in history.
Well, you know, not according to Joe Biden's economy, you know.
Politicians who lie are manipulating you so they can gain or maintain power, turning families and friends against each other and often leading to violence. Surely you have to do something about that, don't you? Because if you keep kicking the can down the road, eventually you run out of road.
Jews will not replace us! One people, one nation, and immigration, one soil!
Those are racist and Nazi slogans. Just stop.
Haven't I seen you around town holding hands with another man?
That's none of your business.
I disagree.
I agree. It is.
This is America.
I agree. It is none of my business. But they make it our business. That's the problem. They make it our business.
Well, I just love because like it's everybody's been
every one of those headlines was false, objectively false. Like the whole narrative is. I think a lot of people see that
they're like calling out like.
I think that was kind of the
when
point.
A public school teacher,
the
like,
point was
you know,
that they were trying to show that person was the politician.
But they're all like all the people that are calling this out, right? Like, oh, the book burning, all that. Like, they're the ones that like get in everyone's business. They're the ones that like take their business and smear it all over your face, so you have to get into it. Like, there's no.
Right. None of that stuff that they're showing in that is actually being done out on the streets and in public and being forced down people's throat. It's all being done in back rooms and plans are being made for the silent takeover later, and it's not you don't see that out in public like that.
the whole book burning thing is kind of funny because it's the libraries are taking out all the books versions before 2006, 2008. They're pulling all the old versions.
Right.
With,
So of like classic literature, they're pulling the old versions of classic literature and putting these updated versions in that are more like racially and like gender and the whole DEI thing. Like they're pushing all the gender and racial equality stuff and removing all the original text and putting in all this stuff that's been edited and modified to be more socially acceptable. And
Like you can't read original Tom Sawyer or whatever.
No, and they're not. And the thing is,
but they don't talk about
the other books. They're destroying them.
Yeah, but they don't talk about that. But the like what they're talking about in that the book banning thing, the things that are actually getting banned are things that are like pushing sexualization and agenda on kids. Like that. It's the whole thing with like the anti-trans legislation that's being passed. It's only stopping that stuff being done to minors. If you are an adult and you want to cut your twig and giggleberries off, nobody's telling you can't. They're just saying that you can't do it to minors. Like it's the way they twist everything is fucking insane.
But it works. Like it works on a certain segment of the population. Is what's crazy. Is like there's a certain segment of
mentally
people
ill segment.
Well, no, I mean like there's a lot of normies who just like they don't want to deal with the repercussions of like pushing back on it. You know, like oh well, like should I really be? Yeah, I mean it's kind of like the like libertarian kind of thing of like oh I don't want to be in anybody else's business, but you know then like all of a sudden. Like, because there's a lot of them that'll say like, oh, you know, they shouldn't be banning books, even if that is, you know, that they should just, you know, move them to the adult section. You know, it's like, well, that's these are written like as like supposedly.
How do you move it to an adult section of a high school, library?
Yeah,
That's my question because they always say that crap, but like, there's no adult section in a high school library where they're trying to put this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're like at an elementary school and there's like a thing talking about like, hey, you know, here you have a penis and here's what you do with it, and it's like, okay, like I don't think that should be in that school's
Aim
library.
for the center of the toilet.
Did you guys? That'd be too easy.
It's not a backboard.
Did you guys see the is it Kennedy? He's the guy out of I want to say Kentucky, the senator. Did you see him reading?
Kennedys are like New England, aren't they?
No,
It's a
different Kennedy.
There's no Kennedy from Kentucky that I'm aware of.
No, okay, so not I mean he's a southern senator.
Look, I know you're like from Canada, but like you know, everything's
either
not...
way. He's reading one of these books, and my God, if you can find it, it is absolutely hilarious, and it is.
Oh yeah. They stop it. They kept like they're trying to stop it. They stop him from reading it because like it's so bad. They're like, no, you can't read that out loud. He's like, motherfucker, this is what's in your public school library.
Yeah, and he's arguing with this they, them, it, she thing that's a librarian in the school, and it's mind-blowing the way he reads it. Well, one of the podcasts I listen to, they sample it, so every time they keep throwing it in, and it's pretty dirty. But I know the guy's name is Kennedy. He might be a
Jay Forte said Louisiana.
No, Louisiana.
But like I was saying, just because
not
they're south of the Mason-Dixon
not everything
line is
south of
not
the
the same.
Mason-Dixon line is Kentucky. It's just because they got an accent doesn't mean they're from Kentucky. I mean,
unless they like fried chicken. Well, you know, even then, you know.
I mean, Popeyes originated in Louisiana, so where's Zaxby's from? Isn't Zaxby's from like Arkansas or something? I don't know.
I wanted to say it was more east, but
I don't know. It's all the way down to Florida for me when I drive. So I see it everywhere.
Maybe they have Zaxby's at the border.
Is that what all those lines are for? I would think it'd be a Chick-fil-A or something. Lines like that big.
So apparently there's a. Hold on, let's see.
What?
They have the pictures. They're literally crawling through the razor wire.
How?
They're crawling through the. So and
It's such a setup shot. And it's such bullshit.
Yeah, somebody pointed this out. Like they have to get a specific angle to get this kind of shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're a photographer guy. So
yeah,
don't you think that this is kind of like
he's shooting through the razor wire. I can see exactly how they're shooting it. That is such a bullshit.
Yeah, but they're trying to say like, hey, they're having to climb through the razor wire and trying to make you like feel sad for them. And like, because
we've all seen the video. They
there.
just cut the razor wire for them. You know?
Do they really? No way.
Yeah, that's what they were. The Homeland Security was cutting the razor wire.
Yeah,
Texas
CBP. Yeah, Border Patrol. Yeah, because Texas Governor Abbott was sending them back down there to put more razor wire out because they keep cutting it.
She lost her leg in the razor wire. How about that?
I mean, seriously though, isn't that? I mean, wouldn't the state have the right to?
I don't know because it's a federal border.
Do something to the federal government. People that are doing that. I mean, shouldn't they at least arrest them? If not,
see, that's the problem. That's the problem. Is it's considered a national border, not the state border. So it's the state. The state's ability to monitor their own border is kind of cut off at the knees.
But Abbott did try to make headway in that because he was basically, I think, did he actually declare it an emergency or what? But I think he did authorize the National Guard to put more razor wire out there when they were cutting it, but I don't know.
Is there like a right of way, like on a road or a telephone line where 30 feet back from the center of the federal government's border, like that's where the Texas border begins? Could he just set razor wire up on like the Texas border so you get onto the first 30 feet of federal land and then you just got to turn around and go back?
Be like, y'all can patrol all of that. Be like, y'all can patrol all of that. If they come past that, then they're in our territory and now they're fucked. Set up gun turrets and just
it's a giant channel over to California. You just follow the razor wire long enough, you'll get over to California and you move right on up.
You have a big chain gun set up, just like it looks like a giant tower.
Or just the state. The state could just build their own fence right there. It's like, all right, if y'all aren't going to build the border wall, then we've got our fence. Y'all can stay over there, but it's like maximum security prisons. They've got the wall, the outside wall, and then they got the inside wall, and in between there is like the kill zone. So as long as you don't try to cross over the fence, we're good.
And I'd put money on the fact that these kids aren't exactly the ones coming through. That I don't know. I think
it's the moms. I've literally, because for whatever reason, a lot of areas around here end up with a lot of actual illegals. I have heard them tell, like, people talking about how they literally bring their women who they just go to the border and they will literally try to cross and maybe like if they are pregnant they'll try to have their baby in the United States as soon as they cross, because like then they're a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, anchor babies.
Yeah, and also just if they have kids, they will try to get them across because then their people are sympathetic enough to like, oh, you're a mom to a kid, then they aren't going to just like, hey, go back. But like if there's these just guys crossing, then they will send them back. Like that's sort of what happens a lot of times. Like
it's just male privilege crossing.
Yeah, male privilege. You get to go back. You get to go back and be under the cartel, basically ownership.
Did you see the governor of New York? They're trying to get special, I forget what it's called, special something for the
housing for
Venezuelans. It's like supposed to. They're trying to get like 200,000 work permits for Venezuelans.
Oh my god, no.
Yep. This is the best part. She said that because the Republicans are demanding it. Like, I have not heard one Republican demanding work visas for Venezuelans ever.
I mean, unless you just count them generally saying like, "Hey, we need more legal migrants" or whatever. Then maybe if that's,
I have not heard. I've not heard. Go on.
If I was employing people, I think I would rather employ like an illegal immigrant. That's I'd rather employ an illegal immigrant than one of the guys that you get at like the job shop places, just like the temp agencies. I mean, really, like I think that's
the
what I'd
illegals
rather
are actually
have,
going to work.
Yeah, right. Like I mean, just saying.
Well, talking about New York, did you see where they're? Who was it that sent the? I think it might have been Jay sent it in one of our group chats. Like all these illegals have been driving unregistered cars and crashing everything and just like causing all kinds of mayhem and destruction. And so now they're trying to deport all of them and close and like prevent them from coming and getting cars and stuff. Like it's fucking nuts.
But they're also trying to. So it's confusing though because they're also trying to get like what was it like? Literally $1 billion worth of housing for them, I think. Or was it?
Well, they've taken over a lot of the hotels. Like, literally, the state has come in and taken the hotels and said, this is for illegals now.
Well, but they're trying to make it more of a permanent thing then.
Well, yeah, and we talked about that a while ago where they were putting all of these illegals up in the hotels, and then that was actually causing a lot of these surrounding businesses, especially some of these, like, bars and restaurants and stuff, places where people would normally come for, like, lunch and early dinner and stuff like that. These places are having to cut staff and close down because all of these illegals are hanging around and it's driving business away.
They're putting them up in Manhattan, and they built a place down in Brooklyn, like on the Shipyard area, where they actually took old buildings that are there and rehabbed them for these immigrants, and then they tried to get the immigrants out of the hotels, and they wouldn't leave. And
then while they're doing all of this stuff and not doing anything to police their crime, you've got companies like Target, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, like all of these big companies that are just abandoning these cities, closing down stores and just pulling out entirely.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be like the new Wild West or like ghost towns, like San Francisco will become a ghost town in 100 years, like 50 years. All the people are gonna move out. You're gonna be left with like all the
Chicago is gonna be 100% black markets run by gangs. Like,
well, did you see Chicago's trying to they're gonna have city-owned grocery stores in Chicago now?
Well, that's because Walmart and Whole Foods have left.
Yeah, because
have pulled out.
Yeah. So the city's gonna open up its own grocery stores.
That'll work out real well. Like I said, it's all going to be.
Man, I cannot wait to see the bread lines. Bernie Sanders.
It's all going to be black markets run by the gangs. I mean, that's.
But you know what they want though? Black markets for black people.
Or it could be completely ran by the retards.
You got to hit the button.
I miss Lori Lightfoot.
Democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.